It's Monster Energy Cup Series racing. Today's Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona International Speedway. As Dale Earnhardt Jr. just mentioned, a very special place. Today's starting grid, brought to you by Coke Zero Sugar, will roll across the bottom of your screen. Stand and salute. NASCAR is and prides itself on being the most patriotic sport in America, and their fans are right there with them. Standing and saluting our armed forces, the servicemen and women who sacrifice so that we can, on a Sunday afternoon, enjoy our passion, enjoy our thrills. The Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, National Guard, and Navy, all saluted here at Daytona International Speedway. The cars 2x2 going down the backstretch now. This is a very special place, and 60 years of tradition will come to an end this weekend. This is the last 4th of July weekend at Daytona International Speedway. The schedule will change next year. Indianapolis will be the racetrack for the 4th of July weekend next year. But it's the place that, Junior, as you mentioned, so many memories have been made and so many special moments are from right here at this venue.
Absolutely. This race used to be ran in the daytime, started at 10 o'clock. You know it's going to be hot out there today. We got postponed to this afternoon. Blistering surface, 125 degrees inside those race cars for over 3 hours. Handling is going to be so critical today.
And this is the first time this package has been run on this racetrack, so there's so many unknowns. And with unknowns, Rick, so many times we get that unlikely winner. Would not surprise me to see that today.
The field set by the rule book. Qualifying was canceled because of weather. That means owner points has Kyle Busch and Joey Logano making up the front row. Coming to the green flag, racing at Daytona.
Planned to lift a little bit to allow the Ford manufacturing teammate of Kevin Harvick to get in line there, right behind Joe Logano.
The rumors were rumbling all throughout the garage that manufacturers were going to work together at this race. That means Chevrolet run with Chevrolets, Fords with Fords, and only 6 Toyotas out there, but they're supposed to work together as well. They're definitely outnumbered today.
See right there, Denny Hamlin's trying to push Kyle Busch, has that car offset to the right side of him. That's the exact proper way to do it.
He's pushing him a lot. Right here on the roof cam, the Coca-Cola roof cam, Denny Hamlin's car. They are pushing quite a bit here. Temperature's not quite peaked on these cars just yet. They will after another lap or so.
I think the only way he can be pushing like that is Kyle has got to be dragging a brake off the gas or something to let him stay connected like that. You see a move.
Coming out of line, Ryan Blaney in the 12 looked like he was going to go to the inside. Ryan Blaney drives a Ford, so right now he's following 2 Toyotas looking for an opening in that bottom line where there are 3 Fords lined up on the bottom.
Denny Hamlin so far really tandem drafting here. Wonder how long he can keep this up with his car before he needs to get a little clean air on the Toyota cam, the bumper cam of Kyle Busch's car. They're trying to take this lead here and get control of this race.
That's as long as I've seen 2 people hooked up in forever here. We saw tandem drafting in the past. NASCAR changed the rules and made it where you couldn't do it. I haven't seen people be able to do it this effectively, but I am pretty sure that Kyle, they haven't just launched out in front of the group. Kyle has to be checking that brake to make sure they can stay hooked up. They've now gotten separated.
And we talk about these manufacturer alliances, certainly going to be the case today. You see those 2 Fords trying to push each other to the front. It's gone so far that Ford is even planning on pitting together and planning what they're going to do on every stop of the day. So it's going to be interesting to see how long these can stick together. But Junior, it's hot and slick. So can these manufacturer alliances stay put together on a hot, slick racetrack where handling is going to matter?
Right now, it's going to work pretty well because the tires are new, the cars have a little bit of grip. But we've got a green racetrack, no competition caution. This is going to be tough on tires this first run. It's going to be hard for these guys to be able to stay in this pack, especially from the 3rd row on back. The dirty air is going to be treacherous. These cars aren't going to drive good as we get 10, 20, 30 laps into the run.
These drivers and teams, they don't really know what to expect here with this package. It's the first time that it's been here. It is hot and slick, as you said. They're all learning right now, trying to figure out how their car drives, where it's weak. As we ride along with Kevin Harvick and that Jimmy John's camera, you can see right now the 22 has gotten away from him a little bit. See the 18 on the outside. It's amazing to me they've been able to stay hooked up as long as they have.
It's slick, it's hot, and they're doing all of these moves at over 200 miles an hour, Kelly.
Well, for all the strengths of Toyota this year, car count is not one of them, Rick. As you said, just 6 Toyotas in this field, maybe not quite enough to really effectively work together. I asked Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. how they overcome that. They both agreed they've got to wait for the herd to thin out a bit and that car count to sort of even out, and then they'll be looking for those Ford and Chevy drivers to break loyalty and work with them, Marty.
Kelly, in the last Super Speedway race, a lot of talk about how Chevrolet finally got their alliance to work. Well, the planning for the July Daytona race started last week before Chicago in a crew chief only meeting. In fact, drivers were told they were not allowed to attend. Jim Campbell, who heads up the Chevrolet Racing, then called every owner and every driver individually to say, hey, here's the plan, stick with it, do not deviate it from no matter what, Dave.
Third car in line on the top side is Ryan Blaney in the 12. He was just told by his spotter, Josh Williams, hang out there for now. I'll get you down when I can. Well, there's no room down low right now, guys.
Yeah, if he wants to join that Ford brigade that's running along the bottom, he's going to have to figure out a way to make an opening, because right now it's Ford being pushed by Chevrolets on that bottom line.
You heard it, a Chevy executive calling all the drivers to tell them what the plan was. I'm going to be honest with you, I'd have a hard time going with that plan and sticking to it. I won't blame any driver from deviating away from that plan to try to win this race late.
Logano has been out front for 5 of the 6 laps that have been run. Only 1 lap was led by Kyle Busch. And race fans, enjoy Coca-Cola and make this summer the most memorable ever. NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers all race long with our high-definition in-car cameras. Just go to NASCAR.com/drive. Download the NASCAR mobile app today. We're riding along right now on the Credit One Bank on board of Kyle Larson. And we mentioned a lot about manufacturers and how they'll work together. Time now for today's Subway Fresh Take. Will pit strategy be done at the manufacturer level? Steve Letarte.
Thanks, Rick. Yeah, down here on the Peacock pit box right on pit road. And you mentioned pit strategy. I expect it to be a little creative. Here in the next 4 or 5 laps, I think one of these manufacturers are going to peel off, run this stage backwards, come to pit road as soon as they know they can make it to the finish on fuel. My concern, though, Rick, listen, we've all done this. Try to schedule dinner with 15 of your friends. It sounds like fun, but they all want to go to a different restaurant. They all want to go at a different time. It's next to impossible. You want to go with 4 or 5 friends? Much easier to plan. We have seen these strategies work with 4 or 5 cars, but now when you start talking 14, 15, 16 cars, I'm just not sure. I've heard of good planning, but if they can somehow pull this off on the racetrack, I'll be shocked.
And Steve, to that point, at Talladega, really the Chevrolet plan was just 8 cars, kind of the Hendrick group, the RCR group, and Ganassi. Well, now the Chevrolet plan is every Chevrolet, so they got to get everybody organized to be on the same plan. And the Ford plan is drilled down so far that they not only are planning on what lap to pit, but exactly what every team is going to do on that lap, because they found at Talladega when they all did different things. Maybe this car took fuel only, this car took 2 tires. They got 2 strung out, so they are very committed to staying together. Steve, those plans are great to make, but how hard are they to execute throughout the day?
Well, Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton talked about it at the top of the show. Under the lights last night, I think the plan was a little easier to execute because the cars should drive better. Here in the heat, Dale Jr. said it, these cars are going to drive bad and they're going to drive different. The priority for Joey Logano may be 4 tires. The priority for Kevin Harvick might be 2 tires. Now, as a crew chief, I feel like my hands are tied, guys. I need to do what's best for my driver. This is going to be frustrating for some of the crew chiefs and interesting to see how many can play along all day long.
Watching that outside line, starting to make a little momentum here. Kyle Busch jumped up in front of Ryan Blaney. They're side drafting. He's going to go down side draft Chase Elliott right now, but Denny Hamlin to the outside is going to disrupt this momentum this outside line has got. Now you see that inside line going by. Denny Hamlin jumping out, sort of disrupt that a little bit. Not sure it's going to work for Denny. He must either be running hot or something. Maybe he needs to get back here and get some clean air.
Or he thought somebody was going to go with him. He thought maybe, the car behind him, Blaney, was going to go with him when he made that move. But
back in line here.
Yeah, clearly he didn't, and now he
goes again.
Yeah, now why not? At the tail end along his line.
I was surprised by that because that outside line, it actually started getting some momentum, started moving forward on that inside line. Look at the back of this car.
Yeah, look at the back of the 37 cars. That's a wrap. That's a decal wrap that's coming loose on that car. Kelly.
I have not heard Denny Hamlin say anything about his temperatures, but he did say he was not happy with how the guys around him were drafting, so that might be why he pulled out of that line right there. He said the 8 car does not know how to draft.
Well, we're seeing we saw the wrap with Buescher's car that looked like it was coming off. A lot of people might be seeing parts of the hood flapping, or actually parts of the top of the cars flapping. Those are actually flaps on the cars. If they get sideways or backwards, it's to keep the car on the ground, because at over 200 miles an hour, these cars, if they go sideways or backwards, they can definitely get airborne quickly.
Yeah, we were talking about handling and how hot it is. About 2 laps ago, we got this of Eric Jones. He's back there, 3 wide. Look at him lose that car. That's a big moment. Look at the gap it created. This is what's going to happen as this race evolves, these runs get longer. Right there, he was way out of the gas. Great job by Stenhouse.
Looked like he got real tight there, Jeff. We always see the cars have trouble handling, and the most critical parts are off turn 2 or off turn 4, depending on which way the wind's blowing.
So we're at lap 16, and we know that a lot of rumors were that they would be coming to pit road around lap 15, at least some of the manufacturers. Dave, is that changing?
No report on that right now, Rick, but for the 22-liter Joey Logano, he cannot see that outside line and Kyle Busch leading it. So his spotter, TJ Majors, is painting him a constant picture of what Kyle is doing in the green and white car on the outside, who is with him, and what progress they're making, just so Joey knows if he has to shift lines to block. Marty?
And Dave, to answer Rick's question, I'm not sure that any of us will know when they are coming down pit road. Yes, this is right in the window when we thought they might be coming. As Steve mentioned, you'll see some cars pit early here and then make it to the end of the stage, but they won't communicate that on the radio. All of these teams opting not to say it over the radio, instead doing it via instant message. There's a Ford chat, a Chevy chat, a Toyota chat, so they're all doing it via computer.
You guys see this 21 car, Paul Menard. The air is so just crazy. It's buffeting so much that it's actually ripped that cow flap out of that hood. You see right there, you can see it hanging on. It finally comes off. Steve, what creates that?
Well, you talk about the turbulence. Everyone has driven up behind a tractor trailer on the interstate and feel your car kind of move around. Times that by 10 or 20 at 200 miles an hour. And basically, that violence, that air has pulled this panel out of the hood. And now the rule states you can run without that panel. You just can't block that hole. So actually, I don't think that hurts the 21. While you think air would be pouring in it, I actually think air is pouring out of the underneath the hood area. So we'll have to see if they try to repair it or just continue like this for the rest of the day.
Yeah, the reason that flap is there, if the car ever spun around backwards, it's made to open up, let the air out from underneath that car, trying to keep it on the ground so it doesn't flip.
It has become chaotic as some of the lead lap cars are getting by the lap cars now. Celebrating this 4th of July weekend, watching the Monster Energy Cup Series Coke Zero Sugar 400 from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Ford continuing to dominate up front with Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, and Brad Keselowski, but Kyle Busch has almost been a gnat inside of that group. Let's listen into his radio.
The 19, he wasn't even close to my left rear, and I felt his effect. I was really loose. And 3 and 4 over there that last time. Tight and loose, like tight on entry in dirty air, and then when it lands, it compresses and yaws just a little bit, then it's free. Then I pick up a little bit tight late exit again.
Yeah, we happen to be watching when that happened. Watch right here. Really, they're all stacked up together. He gets behind the 12, loses it. The 11's right behind him, and you can see how much he had to lift to keep from wrecking that race car. And
you think that See him lifting right there. He's getting a big push. He's getting a car right up behind him right there, and he gets loose when that car gets really close. You'd think with this big spoiler, these cars would be stuck to the ground, but it's hot. Hot on that racetrack. These cars aren't going to handle the drive very good, especially during this first stage. A green racetrack, no competition yellow. These tires are taking tremendous abuse. You see the steering wheel on the in-car camera? These guys are turning the steering wheel more than they ever did at this racetrack because of those big blades on the car in front of them. Dave.
So I just talked with Trent Owens, crew chief on that orange 37 on the inside line there, running in the top 10. That's Chris Buescher, and we've been showing how that wrap is ballooning on the back of his car. There you see it again. Trent told me NASCAR has told them they do have to address it when he comes down pit road. So that hard thing about that is he's in a line that he wants to be in. So far up, he's going to lose time on pit road.
When they say address it, can they just cut it off?
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah,
wrap.
that's what they're going to do, but they have to.
Okay. Still out front, Joey Logano. Watch that wrap flapping off of the back of the 37 of Buescher. Logano, Harvick, Keselowski, Blaney. 4 cars, 4 Fords lined up now at the front, running the bottom of the racetrack.
We keep talking about manufacturers working together. Watch this right here. Kyle Busch saw Hamlin behind him, jumped to the outside. Hamlin goes with him in a Toyota. Truex goes with him in a Toyota. Hamlin says, you know what, I don't like this. Jumps in the bottom lane, leaves the 18 out, leaves the 19 out. And those 2 cars now, they have lost spots. At least the 18 has lost spots. You know what? I'm all up for manufacturing, but if you're with somebody, they make a move that's not good for you, I don't believe you're entitled to have to go with them. Kelly.
Well, it was interesting to see Denny Hamlin in that 11 car move back to the bottom because he said, tell Kyle Busch in the 18 that I'm too tight to work the bottom. We got to go up and work the top together. But obviously that little pact is now broken up, Marty.
Well, the Fords have a lockdown in the front of the field, Kelly. 4 blue ovals, 1 through 4 right now. And Junior, you talked about having these turn the wheel. So much more in this package than the drivers are used to doing. Twice now, Brad Keselowski, who is 3rd in this group, has asked, can we move our group to the top line? Why does he want to do that? Will that help that turning a little bit more?
Well, because of the big blade, you got to turn the steering wheel more to keep the car low. You see those cars fanning up off the racetrack there? Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, their cars are wanting to go up the racetrack, but they got to turn the wheel really tight, a lot more than normal because of the big spoilers. Those guys running around the bottom don't want to be running around the bottom because if they get to the high side, they can open the wheel a little bit more. It's a little easier on the right front tire. But Joey doesn't have that problem. He's got all the clean air. He wants to be on the bottom. He wants to make those guys behind him work their car, work their tires. All the guys on the bottom are really frustrated, wanting to go to the top, wanting to get that top line moving.
Joey Logano's teammate Brad Keselowski currently running in the 3rd position. Let's listen into his radio.
Why is the high lane going? I don't understand. We're lifting a lot here on the bottom. I don't know why the high lane's not passing. Yeah, I'm not sure. They're compressed tighter. You guys, honestly, not really sure. It doesn't make much sense to me.
You know, one problem with the high lane, guys, is that, you know, we've talked a lot, Steve and Marty have talked about when you're going to pit. Well, if you're in the outside lane, it's a whole lot harder to get to the bottom when they call you. And we keep talking about how quiet the teams are. They're not going to give that information early. So if you're a driver, you know you might pit soon. You're afraid to be on the outside and get stuck there and not be able to get to pit road when they want you to. Marty.
And Jeff, I think that's what's going on here on pit road. I'd love to get Steve's take on this, but I think when this switched from a night race yesterday evening to a day race today, I'm guessing crew chiefs and drivers kind of said, hey, let me run a little bit longer in that first stage. Let me get a feel for my car. Steve, do you think that's what's going on and why they're staying out so late here?
Well, a couple of things, Marty. I think they want to get a little information as we ride along here with Martin Truex Jr. This Bass Pro Shop's on board. As the field goes by me, you can hear the noise. You know, they want to get a feel for their car, but they also want to have good tires towards the end of the stage end. So it may be a fuel-only stop. That would be a gamble. Or perhaps they just didn't want to put on tires very early and have 35 laps or so when the points are paid at lap 50. Guys upstairs, remember, we keep talking about the playoff picture, and we keep talking about manufacturers, but the simple fact is there are 16 seats at the table, and there's some big names not inside the playoffs. Those points are going to matter.
Yeah, points are going to matter. You know, it's going to be huge. But as we ride along with Truex, check out the throttle. He is not handling good enough to stay wide open. Look, he's not even half throttle in the middle of the corner. Handling is a factor.
And I also saw over 205 miles an hour from Martin Truex Jr. here at Daytona.
Unlock epic summer experiences with this Coca-Cola Zero Sugar wristband. Grab a Coke and check it out. You're watching the Coke Zero Sugar 400 on NBC.
And Tuesday, Jeff Foxworthy, Chrissy Teigen, and Kenan Thompson. They're searching for the next big name in comedy, from sketch to variety and stand-up. Bring the Funny. That premieres Tuesday on NBC. And right now it looks as though with 18 to go, now just 17 as they cross the stripe, the Fords are working better together. They have the top 9 positions locked up. And we know that they've got to be coming to pit road here pretty soon because the fuel window won't allow them to go to the end of the stage.
They've finally been able to drag it to the top. That's a relief to a lot of these guys in that top 8 or top 10 positions. And it's going to make it almost impossible for anybody, not a Ford, not in that top 10 or so, to make a run on that bottom. That bottom, everybody's so tight right now, plowing on entry, plowing on exit. You can't really make no momentum up.
Well, let's go on board with 4-car Kevin Harvick to show what you're talking about. So right there, he's right underneath the 22 and just loses the front. And then when he gets out in that weight, watch right here. He's tight. Now he gets out there and the air dumps on the nose. Then all of a sudden he's loose. And that was that jerk of the wheel to the right trying to save the back of the car. It's not going to be as bad up tight because what Junior said, you just don't have to turn the wheel as much. You're not asking as much of your car.
Yeah, if you could look at the lap and look at the top 10 cars and look at their throttle trace. They're all running much more throttle right now than they were on the bottom, running at high side. Marty.
Hey, Junior, there were separate Ford meetings yesterday, one for the crew chiefs only, where they talked about strategy, and one for the drivers only. And I honestly had one Ford driver tell me nothing good is ever going to come from that because we can't get everybody together in a group. But I have to hand it to them right now. They have done an excellent job. 9 of the top 10 are Fords, and they're all planning on pitting together probably about 2 to 3 laps.
You see that bottom line? What's that manufacturer? All Chevrolets. So the Chevrolets have decided we're gonna get together, we're gonna start to form. And now look at everybody else driving to the bottom of the racetrack.
Broke up that high line and everybody dove to the bottom to block that run. And when I say the word block, you've got to keep your eye on the 2 of Brad Keselowski because Brad Keselowski said nobody should block me.
They're blocking, but they're also getting down to come to pit road.
That's right. They're coming. That was the rush to get to the bottom.
The decision has been made. Now, mistakes can easily be made trying to get to pit road. Let's see if anyone makes a mistake here. Marty.
And here they come. Brad Keselowski has the very first stall on pit road. You see Joey Logano, the leader, going down pit road, but his teammate Brad Keselowski hits very early. For these guys, it's going to be fuel only for Brad Keselowski. Same plan for Kevin Harvick. A little bit further up pit road, they were running 1, 2, 3. How about Joey Logano, Dave?
So that has to be the plan, right, Marty? Otherwise, they won't be able to stick together when they leave pit road and get back on the track. Fuel is plugged in, Sunoco fuel is added, and the can is pulled out. And look, Harvick may have the lead coming up pit road of that group.
All the Fords on pit road. Will the Chevys be coming next?
Now the pit road is clear.
We got some Toyotas and Chevys, and it looks like they're all coming. Every one of them are coming to pit road now.
Toyotas and Chevys. All making the way. Look at the pack coming toward you. Kelly, and there's almost a spin by Denny Hamlin as he got on the brakes hard.
3 Toyota teammates right there for Joe Gibbs Racing coming down to pit road. It's going to be Martin Truex Jr. in that 19 car who says he's just aero tight. You see the chassis adjustment, no tires, and the 11 of Denny Hamlin also too tight to work the bottom. And Kyle Busch, and there is a log jam of cars trying to get off pit road, no tires taken.
10 with an issue of Eric Almirola on pit road. He's almost pointed at his pit wall right now as they're coming off of pit road.
Okay, so here they come. Here come all the Toyotas and the Chevrolets. They're coming off, and the Fords, remember, they pitted earlier. Well, look who's coming in the back. Here come the Fords. Fords on pit road first. Fords advantage, leaving pit road.
So surprised to see no tires there. As bad as these cars are handling in traffic, for those guys not to get tires, that's going to be difficult.
Could that be straining the Goodyear tires? They have 13 laps to go. Could people be worried about maybe blowing a tire without being able to get to the end of the stage?
To the test for sure, Rick.
And look at Denny Hamlin coming to pit road.
He's wheel hopping them rear tires, locking them rear brakes up, trying to downshift and get himself slowed down for pit road speed.
Hey guys, I'm telling you, it's not just the pit road entry that was an issue for the 11. This was a great save, but he is only one pit to my left, and when he came by here, the left front tire completely locked up. So much so that a crew member looked at it during the gap and go. It's not a wear issue. I'm concerned that left front on the 11 may be flat spotted. We have seen tires not make it because of that here before. We'll have to keep an eye on that 11 car.
So here's the problem with everybody pitting at the same time. You see what happened to Eric Almirola? He couldn't get in his pit box. There's so many people on pit road at the same time, and he's way back there. He's in 33rd, way back, lost the draft. That is the negative to everybody pitting together. Somebody is going to get left out.
Everybody had been to pit road, and now back up to speed. It's the Fords once again, led by Harvick. We go NASCAR nonstop. Kevin Harvick out front of the Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Daytona International Speedway. The world's best golfers are set to vie for the Claret Jug. That's the Open, returning to Northern Ireland for the first time in over 68 years. Coverage July 18th to the 21st on the networks of NBC. And now the Chevrolets have decided to move to the bottom of the racetrack to see if they can eat into that lead that the Fords have built up. Kevin Harvick, Logano, Suarez, Keselowski, Stenhouse Jr., Blaney, and Boyer all in line on the top side.
Coming to 6 to go, near the end of the stage. These guys don't have tires, though. I don't know how well this is going to work. They're going to have to really put together some good runs, good side drafts, and make some gains on these guys on that bottom groove. I think that top has the momentum and the speed.
And you knew the break was going to come from somewhere as we're getting to that stage end. The stage points are going to be paid. Someone had to make that move. Chase Elliott got this bottom line started. He got very aggressive, went to the bottom, picked up a ton of spots, and drug Jimmy Johnson and all those guys with him as he ride along with the 5th, 3rd bank. Cam with Stenhouse Jr.
We know a guy who likes to shake things up in the draft, and that's Denny Hamlin. He has a teammate behind him in another Toyota of Martin Truex Jr. Keep an eye on those two guys if they get an opportunity to make any kind of move here.
And listen, Stenhouse Jr., we were just riding along with him. That's the guy we always see pushing the issue. He's also a guy that really needs some points. So if he wants to make a move, he needs to do it now, try to get in front of that 9 car. Marty.
Hey, Jeff, a moment ago, Junior was wondering why nobody took tires there. I think for the Ford camp, it made sense, Steve. 13 to go in the stage when they pitted, so no tires, getting that track position. But I really feel like the Chevy camp may have missed an opportunity there to sort of differentiate themselves from the Ford camp and maybe take on tires.
Well, this is the problem, Marty, when you have a plan that's set in place before the race starts. You're trying to organize 16 drivers. That doesn't work. You can't change the plan as a crew chief. I'm upset, Junior. I know you would have voted for tires. Give you 4 tires now. Open up our options in 5 laps at the end of the stage. But when you're working with this larger group, it becomes complicated, and you just don't have that. I know these plans are to help, but there will be moments during the race that these plans will actually hurt some of these competitors.
With all that said, I am still really surprised at how well the Chevrolets are doing on that bottom line. They are making a little bit of progress, at least maintaining.
But, Junior, why is the shortest distance around the racetrack not the fastest right now? When they have a line of cars, they're going a shorter distance around, but they can't catch the guys up against the wall.
That's right. The guy in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th in that inside line is tight, and they don't have new tires. Those cars are not handling good. They're getting tight and having to lift off the throttle, not able to really give Chase the pushes that they need to be giving him down these straightaways. They're still doing a really good job with it. Kind of maintaining right there behind Blaney, getting beside Blaney every once in a while. That outside line, though, those guys are much more in the throttle, consistently in the throttle. I bet the top 3, 4 cars in that outside line are not lifting at all.
Well, we're getting ready to find out how committed they are to this Ford line, because listen, you got guys in here. Think about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He is 19th in points. He's in desperate need of stage points. Is he going to make a move, or is he just going to ride in there and try to finish 5th? I don't think a guy like that can be afforded to do that. The 41 car, he's kind of in the same boat. I just think they're going to have to make a move here.
That inside line creeping ever so closely to the front now, as we see Chase Elliott getting just to the side of the 12 of Ryan Newman. Chase Elliott in the 9, being followed by the 48 of Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, he's moving up actually almost to 4th place. Brad Keselowski he's choosing not to side draft here. And the reason is, I think it's because those cars on the outside line are so tight together. If he goes to side draft, the guy is literally getting side drafted by the car behind it. You have to be careful when to choose to do that.
Saw the 17 peek out just a bit. That blue 17 back behind the red, white, and blue 2 of Brad Keselowski.
And think about this, Kevin Harvick, only 4 playoff points in 2019, so he's sitting there leading this. He's looking in his mirror all the time. He's got to be protected. He needs this playoff point. They have not had the year like they had last year, not nearly the playoff points as compared to the way they went into the playoffs last year.
Look how much he's turned the steering wheel. Look at that red mark on the steering wheel. He's turning it. Other guys back in the pack in 4th, 5th, and on back, they're turning the steering wheel twice as much because of that dirty air. Working that right front tire real hard.
One more time around for stage 1. It has been a Ford-dominated stage. Logano led 34 laps. Kevin Harvick has led 12 laps. And now they dive to the bottom.
And the Fords went to the bottom. Some of the Fords went to the bottom. Some of them couldn't go to the bottom.
Brad Keselowski stuck in the middle here.
Yeah, so Kevin Harvick did what he had to do. He couldn't worry about all those Fords. That's what he should have done.
Here comes Stenhouse in the 17 with a run. He's going to push the 22. Logano fighting for this stage win as he pulls in front of the 4, and now Hill starts to block. Logano in front of the 17, coming out of turn 4.
Oh, contact behind them.
All the way to the dog leg. Here he comes.
And Joey Logano will win stage 1 at Daytona.
That was a stage, and all bets were off on the back straightaway between manufacturers and teammates. That answers the question for all of us.
At least with Ford.
Absolutely.
Joey Logano falls out of line, has a little help from the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and powers right past Kevin Harvick in the 4 to get stage 1 win. That's a playoff point and another step closer to the championship 4. Pit stop's about to be underway as the field is now making their way onto pit road, Marty.
9 very needed stage points for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We mentioned he's outside the playoff cutoff line. Quebec is the call here on this pit stop. It's going to be some Goodyear tires, and fixing the free on entry is a problem that he has. And he can't hear his crew chief, Brian Patty, on the radio either. That's an issue, Dave.
Ryan Blaney will come in. His car was treacherous earlier. That last change they made helped it a little bit. He'll get 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, as will stage winner at the end there, Joey Logano. Out front to start the day. He wins the stage, gets that valuable point, and he will lead pit road with Sunoco fuel and 4 tires.
Everything's shaken up again. Race off pit road brought to you by Kroger. Chase Elliott gaining 3 spots. It's time for this year's first installment of Toyota's #HeyRod.
I got a tweet from a new friend named Kelly. She said, we're down here camping for the first time. You got to come down and say hello. What I didn't know is I was going to meet a veteran, a hero here this weekend for 4th of July weekend. This is Michael Fling, was in the Navy for 17 years. Now he helps on the support side of the same group. But your first time at Daytona, you guys having a good time?
Having a blast. Wouldn't miss it for a world.
Is this going to be a regular occurrence for you guys, Daytona and the racing?
Definitely will.
This is huge. And now you guys might also know he's got his son Michael, his son Colton, his friend Kelly here. We got 2 Toyota flags and 1 Harvick flag in the background. Good news, just like on track, these guys, they're going to work together to have fun, but so cool to see a hero like this here, Rick, on 4th of July weekend. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your service.
And we definitely salute all of the servicemen and women that have come to enjoy this 4th of July weekend with us. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Enjoy Coca-Cola and make this summer the most memorable ever. Progressive. Stay on track with great rates at progressive.com. Sonic. This is how you Sonic. And by Toyota. Let's go places.
Take a look at some of this action coming to the finish of that stage. Look at Brad Keselowski. He is sideways. Woo, boy. 18 car gets real tight in the middle there into the side of Menard. Great saves by both these guys. I think that illustrates exactly how tough these cars are to drive. Watch the in-car Busch here driving it, getting tight. Oh, he's lifting off the gas because he feels that front end going away. Oh, man.
Wow, the 11 car, Denny Hamlin. That's the second time we've seen him on pit road wheel hopping. You can hear that noise. He wheel hopped it getting on pit road the first time and wheel hopped it in the pit box. And then look at this mess. At the beginning of pit road, the 34, he just got in a position where nobody could get in their pit box. What you got, Steve?
Well, I'm down here on the pit box, invited in. If we're going to talk Daytona racing, I'm bringing the Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett, 3 500s, 1 July race. Little surprise, no tires under green. I thought handling would mean more.
Yeah, I thought so too, and not knowing what this green racetrack may hold for this tire. But drivers did a great job of making all of that work. I think if I were back in the pack, I'd have got tires then and maybe opted for just fuel under this stage brake. But interesting to see. I was glad to see some guys, especially Ricky Stenhouse and some others, jump out there and not listen to manufacturer's orders, if you will, and show what the drivers can do. I want this in my hands as a driver.
All right, I don't blame you. I'm kind of the same way. As a crew chief, I'm ready to call some racing for my own car. But guys, exciting finish the stage one. We're going to be down here watching intently to see how the racing continues.
It's going to be interesting to see how quickly the Fords shuffle out Chase Elliott, because right now Chase Elliott is in a group of 7 Fords around him. Coming to the Geico restart zone as we get ready for stage 2.
Yeah, all the Chevrolets are just outside the top 10. Chase is kind of like he's behind enemy lines here. He wants to kind of stay up there, not ruffle any feathers, not do anything that's going to get him shuffled to the middle.
Which means he's just going to have to block. He's going to have to look in his mirror, drive as if it's the last few laps of the race to make Ryan Blaney stay with him.
He does have a good friend in Blaney.
Off of the track.
He's as long as he don't give Blaney any real good excuses. Oh, look, there it is.
Went ahead and just decided to go with manufacturer.
I can't believe it.
There's more help coming, though. There's help coming.
They ain't got any choice but to push him. They don't want to push him long, though.
So Blaney got out of line, and now Chase Elliott's looking for friends, but he doesn't have any that are very close to him yet.
You saw that red and black car, the 41s of Suarez behind Elliott. He went way up the racetrack. Wow, 48 made a huge move. Jimmy Johnson made a huge move right there, got underneath Truex. But you saw Suarez get up there trying to side draft that outside line in the middle of 3 and 4.
So the one of Kurt Busch is working the high line. He's following after, well, his brother, Kyle Busch, just in front of him in a Toyota. But he had the opportunity to jump down and get in front of the Chevys on the bottom line.
Look at the 2-car Brad Keselowski pushing Kevin Harvick. Oh, he turns him sideways. Oh, my God. He ain't lifting. He is not lifting. I cannot believe that save.
He wasn't going to lift.
Watch the hands of Harvick. What? Are you kidding me? Unreal.
And
unreal talent.
Harvick's like, not here. Don't push me here.
That is unreal how he saved that.
And now Brad Keselowski still right on the back bumper of Kevin Harvick. Marty.
Hey, Rick, remember what happened earlier the week in practice? Brad Keselowski, William Byron threw a very small block on him. He put the bumper to him and spun out William Byron. He said he wanted to send a message to the entire field. I asked him about that earlier this week, and he said, you know what? It was nothing personal against William, but sometimes you have to draw a line in the sand and send a message. Keselowski sending the message on the left-hand side, and we saw him sending the message to his own corporate teammate, Kevin Harvick, on the right-hand side a moment ago. I'm not lifting today.
17. Stenhouse Jr. was in front of the one of Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch didn't lift, and around went Stenhouse. Into the grass he goes. Caution comes out.
It's a good thing he went through that grass backwards. That was going through it backwards really helped save the front of that car. As wet as it is, as much rain as we've had, if he cannot stay, you see the hood damage, but it's a good thing get back through there.
17 car at the top trying to block the one here. Kurt Busch has got a huge run coming down the racetrack. Then he gets a little tight right there. Kurt says, not today.
I'm not going to lift. He didn't. Around goes the 17 of Stenhouse Jr., and the caution comes out. only 100 laps to go in the Monster Energy Cup Series Coke Zero Sugar 400. Marty.
Rick, from here you can make it to the end of stage 2. I think all the teams via instant message and some just being, hey, we're going to pit right now, decided they're going to come to pit road. Kurt Busch among them, fuel only for him.
Austin Dillon in that bright number 3 getting a second to a second and a half of fuel, Dave.
Clint Boyer, same thing. Sunoco fuel only.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. trying to hold that line of Chevrolets behind. Got tight on corner exit. Kurt got underneath him and was not going to cut him a break. Stenhouse goes around.
NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, perfect for race fans. And by Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut. We just saw the contact between Kurt Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., but Steve, that's not the first time we've seen that.
No, Rick, if you go back to February, we had another altercation, almost the same, just roles reverse. You're going to see right here the one of Kurt Busch. Basically, this is a simple pack, just 2 cars. Contact of Ricky Stenhouse, sends the one around, and basically ending his Daytona 500 only 50 laps in. Reminds me a lot like this guy, Stenhouse with a block. Kurt Busch bound and determined to make this move, sending the 17 around. So I ask you drivers, did they remember that from February? You drivers have a long memory.
Yes.
Unequivocally?
Yes.
Yes. So now up front, it's Clint Boyer who has chosen the outside line. Austin Dillon will be on the inside line. Back up to speed, 38 laps to go in stage 2. One of the things that could come into play, fuel mileage.
Got a couple Chevrolets on that inside trying to work together. They haven't really been able to form this plan that they've had that they worked so well with Talladega, because it's been all Fords up front. Let's see how it works out this time.
2 Chevrolets working together. Austin Dillon and Chase Elliott. And everyone else jockeying for position behind them. Ryan Blaney in a Ford.
See Clint Boyer up front after the last 2 weeks he's had. He's been falling in the points badly. He needs a good finish here.
Hemrick's one of those drivers that needs a win. He can lock himself into the playoffs here. He finished 5th at Talladega.
How difficult is it if you're driving a Chevy to find other Chevys on the racetrack while you're out there at 200 miles an hour? It can't be easy.
Yeah, you just gotta, I mean, he's up front controlling this race. He's just got to get some help from the spotter. The spotters are going to be key to help them understand where the manufacturers are at. Kelly.
So right after getting topped off, Austin Dillon, who now leads the field, was told to go into max fuel savings, but now that he's out front, he can't conserve. Here's what the team told him.
Basically, we need to race right now, and then I'll remind you when we need to start saving some fuel, okay? We're good to 101, but we probably won't hit until about 103, so 102.
All right, so we'll see at what point he can start conserving, Rick.
And interesting with Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon, it's a family team. Richard Childress Racing. Richard Childress is Austin Dillon's grandfather. Austin has grown up a part of this team. Now he's a Cup Series driver. But the unique thing about Austin Dillon is he loves to hang out with his pit crew. He loves to hang out with the guys that go over the wall. And I asked him, is it difficult if you have to maybe get rid of a guy? And he said, we don't get rid of guys. That's the one thing about it. We want to make sure that they stay on our team. So we make sure that this is the greatest place for them to be. So Austin Dillon, very charismatic with the rest of the teammate on his team, as well as the over-the-wall guys.
Austin is great at Daytona, especially in July. 4 top 10s in the last 5 starts here. And they had the Chevrolets forming together. There's 5 of them in the line down there on the bottom.
Not all of his moments have been fine here, though, Junior. It's been some really tough times. Our first race scared me to death watching this wreck. See him on the bottom of the racetrack, just gets hit right there. Oh, craziest, one of the craziest wrecks I have ever seen.
Yeah,
Junior, you saw that in your mirror.
I did. That was very scary to watch. Anytime you see a car getting in the grandstands like that or get into the fence, you're worried about everybody that's around that location. Very scary situation.
Yeah, I remember listening to your radio after that happened, and you immediately said, is he okay?
Yeah.
Well, right now he's up front. Austin Dillon leading here at Daytona once again. Has won the Daytona 500 before. And a couple cars back, Kevin Harvick in the 4. Let's listen into his radio.
If we don't get any cautions till the end of the stage, we can make it running back there where you're at. If we were up there leading, running wide open the whole time, we probably wouldn't be able to make it. We'd be a lap too short.
Yeah, from where everybody pitted a moment ago, Steve, it was going to be close. So if you run up front, you're going to use more fuel. But if you run in the back of the pack with this new package, you can save some fuel. So that's where Kevin Harvick is riding. So in essence, Rodney Childers telling him, hey, hang out for a little while. Don't try and go for the lead. So I'm wondering how Junior reacted if you ever told him that, Steve. Hey, don't go for the lead. Just ride there for a little bit.
Well, you see right there, those green dots, that's your lifeblood when it comes to fuel management. Fuel management is very simple. Time at wide open throttle. The more green dots, the more fuel you burn. So, Jeff, tell me, how easy is it for Kevin Harvick to run what looks like about par throttle in the pack?
Well, so this year, Steve, I think it's easier. With this package, I think that you get such a tow from the car in front of you, it's much easier to save fuel. Right there, he lost the bottom. I don't think he meant to go there. I think his car put him there. Jumped up out of the racetrack because now he can't save fuel. Now he's in front of that pack. Look at the throttle, too. Now he's wide open. Before you saw he was half throttle. All these green dots weren't lit up. Now they have to be lit up. The only way you can stay there. Now he's getting behind Stenhouse. Now he can save fuel.
And does Austin Dillon have to worry about saving fuel leading here at Daytona? Austin Dillon continuing to lead Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Daytona International Speedway. You can go inside the headsets with access to NASCAR scanner all weekend long. Monthly subscription starts at just $2.99. Visit NASCAR.com/scanner. Mentioned Dillon up front. It's Chase Elliott. Then William Byron has moved up into the top 3. Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, David Reagan, and Matt Tiff, the 2 Fords that are running the closest to the front, running 6th and 7th right now.
Check out the lead of that outside road. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., last time we saw him, he was going backwards through the grass, pitted and put on tires, and he started 35th and has driven up to 10th place already. Look at the start right here. He's got good momentum. Green flag is dropped. He's catching the back of the field. Lifts a little bit. Make sure he doesn't change lanes before that start-finish line. And now he's got that momentum going. Got a few right here. Then a few laps later, look at him slice through the field. Now remember, he has tires. These other guys did not take tires. Will this pay off for him later? I mean, he is just slicing through there. Marty.
Jeff, I asked Brian Patty a moment ago, I said, is this the difference tires makes? And he said, I'm not so sure. It certainly doesn't hurt, but I think we have a fast car, and that's what we're showing. And then he said, quote, the driver made a boneheaded move while we were in the lead. So, Jeff, you know this. Sometimes when you make a mistake as a driver, you're a little more motivated to get that track position back for your team because you feel like you let them down.
Bow went around again there for Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah, that 36 car, man, I thought that Matt Tiff was going, he thought he was going spinning, but yeah, I think Stenhouse Jr., I think he's mad and he wants to make up for it, but his car is letting him do it. And I just believe in my heart with these conditions today that new tires are going to help you.
I think the tires are going to help you, but it also gives that driver confidence.
Yes.
Even if the tires aren't making a difference, the driver might think they are. The driver's going to do things, take runs, take risks, take passes, make passes, but he typically wouldn't do if he's thinking his tires are old, worn out.
Let's update a few of the cars through the pack. We'll start with Kelly and last week's winner, a first-time winner, Alex Bowman.
He's 4th in line there along the bottom. As you said, picked up his first career win a week ago. Well, he was also 2nd the last time NASCAR went super speedway racing at Talladega. When I asked his crew chief, Greg Ives, what his strengths were, he said patience. But he said he's almost patient to a fault, and he credited Dale Jr. for helping him to get more aggressive, and now he got a spin.
And the one of Kurt Busch. He's able to save it, but you have damage to the left front of that car, and the caution has come out once again. So there had to have been some contact here.
That's somebody else's car, I think. So there's a car around here with more damage.
We'll put right sides on it right here. When you come to us, pull the fenders out. Right side tires. Make sure the lefts are clearance. Come around, please.
We'll see here on this replay. Let's get an opportunity to look at it. Looks like it happened turns 3 and 4. Oh, going into turn 1. He's out there by himself. Tight into the fence. Into the wall. Has problems down in turn 3, eventually spinning it out. There he goes. Good save by Kurt Busch. He'll bring it in, try to get tires on that car and get back in action.
I unlock epic summer experiences with this Coke Zero Sugar wristband. Grab a Coke and check it out. You're watching the Coke Zero Sugar 400 on NBC.
And the guys are going to talk about this race tomorrow on NASCAR America, 5 o'clock on NBC SN. And of course, Jeff and Steve will break down what we're seeing right now. Dale Jarrett. Then on Wednesday, make sure to tune in to Motor Mouse because Eric Almirola will be a part of that show. Again, that's 5 o'clock on Wednesday. NASCAR America, Motor Mouse, and Rut. You'll take some fan callers on that show, right?
You know we will, Rick. That's one of my favorite times. It's a lot like being down here in turn 1. You find some new friends, you hop on their roof, you check it out. But we got to see Kurt Busch hit the wall right over here. We saw that tire rub happen. Everybody over here, because we got such a good view, saw it. But then we wondered how soon before that pops up. Junior, are you seeing how much some of these cars are bouncing if they get sort of in that middle line? It's like watching pinball from over here in turn 1.
Yeah, it's incredible what the air is doing to these cars. You know, I'm talking about it over and over. That rear spoiler, so big, it's making it so turbulent for the pack. We've seen all these cars get moved around. Here's a better look at the one car getting turned around and having contact with Brendan Gaughan there. Big damage to the right rear quarter panel on Brandon's car. I think Kurt actually is going to come out of this okay. But the damage to Brandon's car is pretty significant there.
So a few did come to pit road under this most recent caution. It started with Matt Tiff, Ty Dillon, Landon Castle. Those guys all on pit road under the most recent caution, Marty.
Hey, Rick, if you'll notice, the top 5s are all Chevrolet, so there's a lot of communication going on between Chevy drivers, including Kyle Larson, who you're riding on board with right now. His plan is to let the 88 in, so these 5 Chevys are going to try to link up and see if they can leave those Fords. We'll see if it works out.
Is it possible? Can a group of 5 leave the pack?
I don't know if they can leave the pack. You know, I think there's just the draft so strong, goes so much further back than it did in February. So I think that it'll be tough to break away like we've seen cars do here.
And when an opening is created, will they be able to get into that opening? You see Ricky Stenhouse Jr., David Reagan, those 2 guys are the first Fords as the field works its way out of turn number 4, and now they direct their attention on the Geico restart zone as we get ready to get back to action with just 22 laps to go in stage 2. Austin Dillon, he gets the advantage. He'll dive in front of the 9 of Chase Elliott and start that Chevrolet line.
Looks like Chase is trying to give his teammate Alex Bowman an opportunity to get down in front of him. An intentional, you know, restart to sort of drag back there and give that team, get both those Chevrolets the opportunity to get in front of him. Oh, man, I hate having to do that.
The line of Fords on the outside, they all lined up. Look at them coming on the 3 wide on the top.
Led by Brad Keselowski.
See why I hate having to do that, because it creates a chain reaction. We saw Ricky Stenhouse in the back of Larson. Get Larson loose.
Kevin Harvick still has his hands full. He got loose again just there as they were coming up to speed.
Now he's an outside line getting a big shove from Logano, and he is not comfortable. Even though he's happy to get a help, his car is not comfortable.
Let me ask you, is what Brad Keselowski doing right now with the middle line and the outside line, is that blocking? Because he said that he doesn't like blocking.
He ain't blocking anybody right now.
He moved the forward. He just jumped out in front, but now he's out there on the outside. And as you said, I just don't think the 4 car is driving well. I think he is very uncomfortable. Wants a push down the straightaway, but does not want one in the corners.
3 wide back here for 3rd.
Well, the 38 car, very uncomfortable right there, getting tight, having to lift, losing a lot of speed. That's going to cost Keselowski unless he can get up there and push him, get a run back to him.
And with these cars being 3 wide, Junior, not driving good, they don't want to be 3 wide, but there's nowhere to go right now. You can't get out of it.
Keep your eye on the middle line, the line there with Brad Keselowski. All those guys right there in the worst position as far as aerodynamics, and we're losing more parts off of cars. It's
Harvick almost in the wall.
Car came off the 38 car off the hood. Same issue we saw with Paul Menard.
Cowl flap coming off of that car. And now Harvick on that outside line has help from the 22 of Joey Logano. Getting the red, white, and blue number 2. Brad Keselowski right in the middle.
Brad wants to get out of this middle. You side draft hard on the 11 car right there. Big side draft. Slows Denny's car way down.
He's not able to take advantage of it as we see the other cowl flap on the 38 about to come off of that car.
Guys, we've seen action picked up with 19 to go. Quick reminder of the rules. The end of stage 2 is official. If we do get weather, this is Florida. It's July. Pop-up thunder showers all weekend long. I think the intensity is being turned up because the radar's starting to get a little questionable. These drivers know that'll be the end of the race.
We saw Denny Hamlin turn the intensity up. He hung a right to get that outside lane to get Brad Keselowski behind him pushing. He knows Brad is fast, wants that fast car behind him, Marty.
And Brad Keselowski has had to work to get his way back up through the field. And here's the problem with not communicating what you're going to do on a stop. Brad Keselowski came in. They called a code word for the stop. He thought it was...
Into the wall. He got pushed into the wall, and now Brad Keselowski and others are sliding behind him. There goes the 38 of David Reagan making contact. Now they go into the infield grass as well.
Brad looked like he had a handful of race car off the turn 4. Looked like he was getting a little bit loose off turn 4 and having a hard time with that race car.
Daniel Hemrick, there you see the 8 of Hemrick making a left turn to go back to pit road. The 41 of Suarez also involved. A lot of damage to the 2 of Keselowski.
Let's see how all this started right here. Down. Oh, he gets a big push from the 4. And that just turned him. The 4 hit him pretty hard. And Brad just lost control of the car. Turned Brad into the outside wall really hard. Here's a great shot with Kevin Harvick. Oh man, it really isn't that hard of a hit. It looked like he was just trying to get Brad moving. Unreal that it doesn't take anything to get these cars out of control and out of the driver's hands.
Yeah, Harvick trying to push him to get him by that middle lane, and when he hit him, it just shot Brad up. Then it just all stacks up, and guess what? When you're all running a line together trying to help each other and something happens, guess what happens to all of you? You all get damaged.
Harvick's in the fence a little bit. I think he's going to be okay. Really impressive by Joey Logano and a lot of those guys behind them to get out of the gas and not create any more cars spinning and turning and crashing and obstacles to get through and get by. That could have collected a whole lot more race cars than it did. Harvick kind of smartly put his car up against the fence, like, hey, I'm going to go up here and kind of hope that nothing hits me, nobody gets into this wreck. Going to get on Logano's roof here.
Oh, it's a great shot.
Coca-Cola can. And watch him lift it. Here's the throttle. Oh, here is Spotter telling him everything to do.
You're clear, you're clear.
Great
Sounds like an
information.
auctioneer right there.
Yeah.
TJ Majors, low. Marty.
And you see Brad Keselowski on pit road. He said the steering wheel is at 11 o'clock, and this is every manufacturer's worst nightmare. You see 4 Fords there in that graphic that were involved in this wreck, and I might add 4 very fast Fords, and that's what you don't want to have to lose some of your drafting partners. Daniel Suarez coming to pit road. Keselowski for his car said the steering is at 11 o'clock. Paul Wolf reminded the team we are on the damage clock right now, so they are on limited time to be able to get this repaired. And now Paul Wolf with the call, take it to the truck. They are done for the day with Brad Keselowski. We'll get a word with him in a moment. You see the damage there on Kevin Harvick's car. He said it looks like the right front fender is going to need something to keep it up for Kevin Harvick's car. It looks like they'll be able to continue just fine, but again, Brad Keselowski done for the day.
Yeah, so Marty, you talked about the Fords and having trouble. Well, guess what? There's 4 cars on pit road right now, and they're all Fords. All 4 of them Fords. Daniel Hemrick with the Chevrolet, he's just coming on pit road, and that's what we talked about. You can work together all you want to, but if something goes bad, then you're all going to go together. And another thing, Junior, as you said, Harvick went up there and hit him, and we've seen many of those before. That didn't look any worse than a lot that we've seen. I just think some of that's because how bad the cars are handling. And you got to go back and think about tires. Think about that 17. He put tires on. I just believe tires are going to matter in this race. Dave.
And that's why the 22 is coming down pit road. They said, bring it down. We will put 4 Goodyear tires on that and fill it with Sunoco fuel. And we'll head out, and we'll see who has it next here at Daytona.
Remember, Joey Logano won stage 1 because of the good coordination with the Fords. And now, doesn't work out so well. The 4 into the back of the 2 wrecked. Just 14 laps remaining in stage 2 of Monster Energy Cup Series Coke Zero Sugar 400. Want to take a look at the Ram trucks built to serve.
Well, you look off in the distance, the dark clouds, weather. It doesn't have to be rain, lightning. If lightning strikes in the area, it could shorten this race. Only 15 laps in this stage.
Can you maintain this manufacturer alliances? I say no. I say you're going to have to go fend for yourself.
And with the intensity picking up with the weather, can you avoid the big one? Can you avoid any kind of crash? Keep yourself toward the front of this race and win it.
It appears not. It appears like that's getting more challenging.
Right now, the top 5 are Chevrolets. Austin Dillon, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Kyle Larson. They all have the top 5 positions. But again, they're not lined up nose to tail. Back there in 6th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ty Dillon is 7th. Denny Hamlin in a Toyota is 8th. Jimmy Johnson and Martin Truex Jr. making up the top 10. Not getting up to speed quickly, Alex Bowman.
Yeah, another intentional planned restart to allow those Chevrolets to get down in front of Chase Elliott. The Chevrolet plan is a strict one. This is a strict plan these guys are adhering to.
Chase Elliott didn't let one guy in front of him. He let 2 guys in front of him.
Yeah. Man, that's tough to do when you're a race car driver. I'm gonna tell you, Chase Elliott is not comfortable doing that.
Well, I'm going to tell you what makes it even harder. Steve mentioned it, the weather. It's rained all weekend down here. There's some weather in the area. 14 to go. This could be the end of the race. So we don't know that's going to happen, but the 17 getting a huge push trying to get back to the front from the 11.
Yeah, the 11 of Denny Hamlin gave Ricky Stenhouse Jr. a huge shove. Now he tries to side draft to keep moving forward, trying to pull back the 88 of Alex Bowman.
Well, we got 7 or 8 Chevrolets down there on that inside line. That outside line is not organized. Look at Menard going around the 11, unorganized. And that's going to give these Chevrolets the advantage on that bottom groove.
It broke up. It broke up that bottom, though. Look at it right now. It broke it up.
Big wiggle out of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. after getting shoved by the 21 of Paul Menard, that fluorescent yellow number 21.
The other thing Stenhouse has to do, his car drives really well because the tires he has on it, everybody else's doesn't. So as he side drafts these cars in the middle of the corner, it really hurts the way they drive. So he's got to be careful not to suck the air off of them and get them spun out and take him with him. So right now, Stenhouse in that blue car with the 17, he's looking in his mirror. He's wanting that 21 to come up. Give him a little shot right here. Give him some momentum moving forward.
That's a perfect scenario there to side draft the 13. The 21, though, doesn't come down and get side draft off the 48. That's going to help them guys get a little run here.
But now that outside lane, it's organized. Now it's all bunched up together. It looks much better than it did a few laps ago. Now we'll see if it can move to the front. And it's got the right car leading it. That Stenhouse Jr. car, it's fast. Jimmy Finnan and his team back at Roush Fenway, they work very hard on this plate program. I think that's a good car to be leading this pack.
We saw on Parker Klingerman jump out of line there on the outside. Those guys didn't go with him. That's going to shuffle him back. That outside line is not forming. We got a middle line there.
I said I've been bragging about Stenhouse Jr.'s cars driving well. He almost lost it off of 4.
How organized will the Chevrolets stay, though, when we get down to the final lap of this stage? Will they break away from team orders?
That'll be interesting. We saw what the other manufacturers did at the end of stage 1. I've been waiting to see Chevrolet in this position to see exactly how committed they're going to be.
Well, you just saw right there Chase Elliott way up the racetrack. He opens that door. At some point, the guys behind him are going to have to fill that hole. If not, they'll get themselves wrecked. Marty.
Well, Jeff, you mentioned it. The weather's certainly close. The teams know that. But look who is sitting in 3rd, William Byron. That is a backup car for that team after that accident with Brad Keselowski on Thursday. They had to stay 2 hours after the garage area was closed Thursday night to get the backup car ready, and then came in 2 hours early Friday morning to finish those preparations for today's race. And the young man doing it very well right now. And I believe the Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett said William Byron would win this race Monday on NASCAR America. Hall of Famer might be in a good position here.
And how much would this shake up the playoff standings if Austin Dillon would be able to get a win? Look at right now the top 10. Only 2 drivers have won. Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman in the top 10 right now. Kelly.
And expect things to start to get desperate. 10 laps to go to end this stage, and the 3 team just told Austin Dillon, we have got lightning moving into the area. This could be for the win, so he's not going to relinquish anything.
Big moment off of turn 4 for Paul Menard there.
Yes, it was.
Cost him. That outside line, that's the trouble of trying to get it going is the guys in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and their car's not driving good. They can't get up there and push Stenhouse. Look how far back the 21 is to Stenhouse. We'll take a look here at it. Big moments. These are happening to all these drivers lap after lap. Oh, man, look at that. He gets tight and has to lift, gets a push, almost gets turned around. Blaney doesn't know he's coming off the gas. All these guys are really intensely pushing, trying to help that outside line get going. They're having a tough time doing it because of how bad these cars handle.
Chevy starting to pull away. That inside line and that group of about 6 cars right now, 7 cars, are pulling away from the pack. Can they pull away from the pack with just 8 laps to go?
This second group, if you just saw right there, Clint Boyer, he just cleared Stenhouse Jr. Now he should be able to pull up to that pack. That's what that front pack wants. They don't want any action coming from behind. They're all happy and comfortable right now, not having to defend. Now Stenhouse Jr., he was able to get behind Boyer. Now that back line is starting to join, Marty.
Chevy, the top 7 cars, Jeff. And I want to go back to what we talked about at the top of the show. Jim Campbell, the head of Chevrolet Motorsports, called every owner individually and every driver individually and reminded them, hey, we're your biggest sponsor. Right now, Jimmy Johnson back there, you're a 7-time champ. You're sitting in 7th. You have a chance to win this race. But how do you stick to that plan? Junior, you've been in the Chevy camp before. When the big boss calls, do you stick with this plan even with a lot of young, hungry drivers up front and even a 7-time champ in the back of this pack?
I'd tell him, yeah, with my best poker face. Because I wouldn't want to be, I want to be locked into any plan, but my plan, whatever's going to get me to victory lane. I got a crew chief and a team in my pit that wants me to win. I got guys that built this car and brought it to this racetrack to win. I know all those drivers feel the same way. When it comes down to it, presented with an opportunity, they're going to try to do what they got to do to win this race.
Ty Dillon in the 13 got up a little bit high, wasn't able to get back in front of the 48, so Jimmy Johnson will move up a position.
And that moved him out right there. You saw Clint Boyer. He just kind of moved him out of the way. He thought he was slowing that line up. You know, he had a good run. The outside lane was starting to gain some momentum. It got slowed down when Ty lost his car and had to go up there.
That's one more Chevrolet out of this mix. That evens the numbers just a little bit. The 14's got to run. Stenhouse is going to stay with him, dedicated. They got Logano pushing.
The Ford's on the outside, led by Clint Boyer in the 14. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Again, that's the same car, same driver that went spinning through the infield just a little while ago. He's up here pushing, seeing if he can get the 14 to the front, Dave.
And Rick, just think about his position. No wins in the 2019 season. 16th in the points right now on the bubble. And a horrible weekend last weekend at Chicagoland Speedway. A good Daytona day would be big for Clint.
5 laps to go in stage 2. Weather in the area. Austin Dillon needs to win to make the playoffs.
Keep an eye on that 17 and 22, Stenhouse and Logano. Can they push that 14? Big push down the back straightaway. Really, really good push here.
This is huge. Look how much faster he's going. It's like 15 mile an hour faster. All the way to 2nd.
Here comes Clint Boyer, and he's got help behind him. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Joey Logano, Paul Menard, all manufacturers of the same brand, and they're working their way on the high line, trying to take the lead away here at Daytona.
Austin Dillon, what does he do? He does not block the 14. Let's Clint Boyer get on the outside. I can't believe he didn't jump over there and block.
I can't beat him. I would have blocked the heck out of that move.
Keep working hard in there. Still there. Still
That's it. I mean, now he's giving the lead away to the 14.
Will the 14 start to block now?
Clint Boyer to the lead.
He
Yes,
does.
he's going to block. He's definitely going to take the momentum off of either lane that's going to give him the help.
Let's listen to 14 radio.
Big push is coming on the top side. Here it comes.
This is live. Spotted
Get back to the
Brett.
bottom quick. Half back. Still half. Coming inside now. You see this slow on the very bottom. That'll be a second to your help. Well, that's it.
Austin Dillon on the inside in the number 3. Clint Boyer on the outside in the 14. Now under 3 laps to go.
Keep a reminder, we got weather, very close, lightning in the area. This could be for the win. These guys know it.
They continue side by side. Chevy on the inside, Ford on the outside.
Big push from the outside lane right there from Stenhouse. Clint doesn't quite clear Austin. Oh, I thought he was going to clear and get in the corner. He couldn't do it.
Now it gets difficult as they get 2 by 2 for that inside line to keep those cars, keep the momentum up. They're getting tight. They're getting bound up, pinched down on the bottom groove by that outside line. Bowman and Chase Elliott, all those guys trying to push, but getting tight. The car's not handling. That outside line has the momentum, but Austin Dillon breaks through.
Surging ahead. Now will he start to block? Will he dictate which line? Will he go to the high side with just 2 laps to go?
And think how bad these guys behind him in the 5th and 6th row. Think about how bad those cars are driving right now with all that air off of them. Another run coming from Boyer right here.
Another surge out of the 17 to give the 14 a shove.
If the 14 gets a run, Byron has to pull up in front of it and block it. You have to try to take an opportunity here with a white flag out in the stage.
One more time around for stage 2. Austin Dillon, Alex Bowman, William Byron, Chase Elliott, the top 4. And they're starting to pull away from that outside line.
Joey Logano had to go up and do a huge block on Denny Hamlin. That's going to hurt that surge from the outside lane.
Austin Dillon, a little bit of a draft off that car. Might help him a little bit, keep these guys from getting a run.
They're pulling away. Does anybody get out of line and try to take the win away from Austin Dillon of these 4? Through 3 and 4 for the final time in stage 2. Exiting 4. They're all in line. Dillon. Then Bowman and Byron. Dillon's going to win the stage.
I didn't see any Chevrolet behind Austin Dillon develop a run that would have been worth trying. Those guys are directed to stay in line, but I really didn't see anything materialize to actually use any kind of momentum.
Austin Dillon takes stage 2, and now they'll head to pit road. Race fans, enjoy Coca-Cola and make this summer the most memorable ever. A lot of memories being made today and this weekend, this 4th of July weekend. As the field about to come to pit road, Marty.
Chad Canals praising his young driver, William Byron, saying you're doing an excellent job. Top of your screen, you'll see them take 4 Goodyear tires here. Also, Sunoco Fuel finished 3rd in that stage. He said, we've been too free. Tight's never been an issue, Kelly.
His teammate Alex Bowman said that his race car, that number 88, was just a little bit free. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires for the 88. And Austin Dillon, who won stage 2, said his balance was really good out front. An air pressure adjustment, 4 Goodyear tires, and Sunoco Fuel for the 3.
And cars coming off the pit road. Joey Logano. Good stop there. And quite a few spots made up by teams just changing 2 tires. 37 stayed out on the racetrack. Chris Buescher maybe trying a little strategy there.
Back up. Back up.
NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, perfect for race fans. Subway, make it what you want. And by Coca-Cola. Enjoy Coca-Cola and make this summer the most memorable ever.
We saw it going to break. 18 car trying to get into his pit box. Listen, locking up those rear tires, can't get the car slowed down. Has to back up, costing him a lot of time here, a lot of track position. We've seen this already earlier in the race, Jeff, with the 11 car.
Yeah, saw 11 car, almost exact same thing. You can hear it wheel hopping. He also dropped through his brake, through his box. So they're going to have to be a little bit careful the next time they have a pit stop. It doesn't seem like a big deal, Junior, but if you give up a second, you know, trying to take care of something, that's going to be 4 or 5 spots on pit road.
And remember, on pit road, they're coming in at 55 miles an hour. Well, one driver who obviously has had a bad day, Brad Keselowski with Marty.
Well, not the way Brad Keselowski wanted to end his day. First of all, kind of what happened when you saw the replay?
It looked like Kevin gave me a pretty good push, but I don't know, just didn't have the grip and lost it. So it's a bummer for the Miller Lite Ford. Really want to win with that Independence Day scheme that Miller Lite put on our Mustang. But Marty, just kind of unfortunate. I'm not really sure why it just took off like that, but it did, and that's the way it is, and we'll move on.
How much of a handful are the cars out there today, period, for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's hot and slick. It's that way for everybody. And, you know, I thought we had decent speed and okay handling, but obviously wasn't enough to take the push.
Thanks, Brad.
No problem.
and showing you the weather behind the grandstands. That's been a big topic with all of the crew chiefs and teams. The sense of urgency, knowing that at any time, if there's lightning within 8 miles of the racetrack, they will have to clear the cars off the track. Let's go to DJ and Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. All right, DJ, 2 stages in the books, about 100 laps, assuming weather stays clear. We got 60 to go. You have any favorites?
When I look at this, I think Joey Logano is the man to beat out there. He's got some good Ford teammates. Even though a few of them are gone there, he's still got enough help. Stenhouse has to be one of those underdogs, but a lot can happen here. The Chevrolets are lined up, but at what point do you have to make a decision as a driver? I'm on my own here. I need to go win this race.
That was going to be my next question. I like Joey Logano. I think he's looked really strong. He's the guy I think you're going to have to go beat. But you're a driver. You've won here multiple times. You know you're going to have to answer on Monday if you do something different. At one point, the white flag, halfway through that lap, when you say, no, I need the checkered flag.
Yeah, I figure if I've got that trophy, that's pretty good bargaining power to talk to whoever I need to talk with. So I'm going to go try to make it happen, probably on that last lap as we come through the trial.
I like it, Rick. DJ says win it at all costs.
Well, that's what we're about to see. And again, the intensity ramping up because who knows when weather could be an issue. The crew members getting these guys back out in these positions. Logano and Newman making up row 1. Behind them, Eric Jones, Austin Dillon. Back up through the gears they go.
Oh, I thought Newman could squeeze in there behind the 22. Couldn't quite get there. Austin Dillon with a big push.
I don't know if Newman is in the Ford meetings. I don't know. You know, he's on his own plan here. You're looking at Newman, Austin Dillon, Eric Jones, all those guys up there. A win today gets them into the playoffs. They're right now all outside the playoff picture.
You saw the 3 pushing the 6. The reason he couldn't keep doing that is the 22 side draft, and he pulled him off of the 6. Look at this run Austin Dillon's got.
Big run by the 3 of Austin Dillon. He had a push from the 24. He's out front and controlling this race again.
And there was no way the 6 of Newman could block that.
I was going to say, veteran move
yes,
by a guy that knows that is a waste of time to try to block that. That's a good way to get yourself turned around.
So now a Chevy in front of a Ford, in front of a Toyota. Our manufacturer orders out the window now with these 3.
It's hard not to block that, but you live to fight another day, and he knows he's going to eventually get the help, and he's getting a great push by William Byron, Ryan Newman up in the back of that 22 car, Joey Logano.
Logano just went up to be in front of another Ford.
You see right here, look how fast Austin Dillon's coming with the big push, and Newman knew it. He knew not to block. All that would have done was cause a big wreck.
So now it's Austin Dillon in front by about a car length over Eric Jones in the 20. And trying to side draft the 22 of Joey Logano leading that second line.
How about that outside line right there with Matt DiBenedetto getting the big push. He led the most laps here in February.
He's led the most laps of any driver at all the super speedways, Daytona and Talladega, all year long. Got a great line of Fords there in the middle.
Oh, contact there by the 22 of Logano. Went down. Looks like he might have made some contact with the 9 of Chase Elliott.
This is not the same drafting we have seen in past races where everybody's under control, pushing each other. This is pushing each other when they don't have enough control. This is a new ball game. This is not what we normally see at places like Daytona and Talladega. This is much more difficult. See right there, the 14 in the back of the 22. He just lost his car.
Clint Boyer just got a little tight there in that situation.
And we just went green, man. It's not old tires.
It's aero. All aero. That big spoiler right there you see on the back of that 14 car, Clint Boyer. No air on the nose of that white 24. Got to be careful. It's a big surprise to these drivers sometimes when the front end just takes off across the track. They're not ready for it.
Price is 17 right with you here. He's got the 12 right on him.
And these drivers can see it out their windshields as well. That weather that is just off of turn 4 here at the racetrack.
6 car Newman is almost in the fence. Maybe hitting the wall just a little bit there. Gets really loose. That's the air back there where he is non-existent. I mean, the guys back there in the middle of that are out of control. Cars are out of the track, chasing the front, chasing the back. Look at this car here. slapping the wall with the right rear. That's the only thing keeping him straight, the wall.
We've just never seen that before here. This early in a run, that's so unusual. And somebody we've not said hardly anything about, that 20 of Eric Jones, last year's winner, won this race. Look where he is. He is back in position. We saw him on pit road early in the race, making adjustments to that car. They got him out front. Let's see what he can do with it.
Look at what the 22 is doing now. Joey Logano, with the help of the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., has moved up to challenge for the lead.
I know Ricky's a wild man here at Daytona, but he is definitely a great pusher. The guys that he gets behind, they go forward. If your nerves can take it, you're Joe Logano.
Full line here. Oh, be careful not to push on that left rear quarter panel.
You're mentioning wild man, and you're referencing Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That wild man attitude has sent him to victory lane a few times at these racetracks.
It's feast or famine, but that's the way it is for every driver. I like it. I like the style that he has when he comes to these tracks. He's aggressive. You got to be aggressive. And we see him up front.
Here comes Logano. He's cleared the 3. Now will he start to block? He's not going to come down the racetrack. Up the racetrack goes the 21. Paul Menard saves it before he gets into the wall.
Yeah, that's just out of control.
How about Bubba Wallace in that 43 car?
Oh, the 11 just almost in the fence there. These things are moving around so much back there in traffic.
Bubba Wallace flying that Warthog today. Look at him, man. He's going.
A big shove here. Will Logano be able to clear the 3 and then start to manage this race? Organize himself in front of the 2 lines.
Something's got to give. Oh, something's got to give here.
3 wide behind him. Logano can't
Paul
get in front
Menard
of
on
the 3.
the outside.
But look, there's no help behind the 3 now. Here comes Eric Jones. He was 2 car lengths back. That high line has made the move. Paul Menard fighting for the lead here at Daytona.
Oh, the 17 is getting so tight. Oh my God.
The 12, Bubba Wallace was in the right rear quarter panel with Blaney.
Blaney was in the back of the 17.
A big push by the 11 of Denny Hamlin, and then Denny Hamlin dives left, trying to take the lead. He'll have the lead here at Daytona.
And Kurt Busch was just a lap down a while ago, got his lap back. He's in 4th.
Look at those guys in the back getting out of this. Man, look at this group back here. They're like, I don't want none of that. I don't want nothing to do with what's happening up there.
Denny Hamlin.
That was wild.
Makes the move, takes the spot away, now in front of Austin Dillon. Here's how it happened.
Just a power move. He had that draft, turned left, just tons of speed.
Was that lap paying more than the others? I don't know what was going on there, man.
Take a look at today's Toyota driver updates on race leader Denny Hamlin.
I'm sorry, this Toyota, Ford, Chevrolet thing, it's out the window now. It's a race. These guys got to do whatever they got to do. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing just aggressive driving, everybody trying to win the race for themselves.
Remember, Denny Hamlin, to start the year off, grabbed his 2nd Daytona 500 right here in February.
You got a Toyota, a Chevrolet, a Toyota, a Chevrolet. How you gonna work with just your manufacturer in this situation? Check out Blaney right here in the back of the 17.
Oh my God.
He had to turn right. He's like, boys, I did a good job saving that.
He's still catching his breath. You're not going to miss a thing as we go NASCAR nonstop. Denny Hamlin in front here at Daytona. Only 43 laps to go. The Monster Energy Cup Series Coke Zero Sugar 400. And slow on the track is the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Will he be able to get to the apron? He does. Can he stay out of the line as the racing continues? Austin Dillon up front. They shifted him out.
It's going to be a big one.
And now around goes the 3 in front of the pack. They're all collected. The 11 with damage, the 22 as well.
Big wreck here.
Smoke rolling out of the cars that even cleared this incident. They shuffled out. The 11 of Denny Hamlin, and then while trying to regroup, the 3 of Austin Dillon gets around. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 17, major damage.
A lot of good cars in this wreck.
Chris Buescher in the 37, also the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Anytime you see a guy get turned around entering a corner, he's going up across the track. It's going to take a lot of guys with it. That's just one of the worst places, if not the worst place to get turned. And it's the blocking. It's the blocking we've talked about all weekend. And I think that a lot of guys might have Brad Keselowski's mental attitude about it. I'm not allowing it. I'm not putting up with it. We saw it already today with Kurt Busch, Ricky Stenhouse.
We just saw Clint Boyer climb out of his car. Ryan Blaney climbed out of his car.
Guys, the racing was intense, but it all started right here. The Chevy, the 3 of Austin Dillon changed lanes. He tries to make a move on the Toyota, loses momentum, blocks the 14. Now he's helping a Ford. I think he panics. What does he do? He goes back to the bottom, or does he block the 14? The 14 makes a move. The 3 blocks. You said it time and time again. Blocking causes accidents. This is an accident at the front of the field.
Yeah, it looks like Clint Boyer's pushing the 3, but he moves to go inside, and that upset the 3 a little bit. Got the 3 a little bit loose, but the 3 headed on down the track to try to block anyways, to try to get down there and protect that line, protect that lead.
Let's go back and look at that first view, because I think that, watch this first view. So right here, he makes the move, as he said. Here comes the 14 of Boyer. Good side draft on the 11. Here comes the 14 of Boyer. Now we got a great shot. Boyer gets into the back of him. He goes to turn left just a little bit, and when he did, he drug the 3 with him. The 3's on the bottom of the racetrack. You know, I don't know that that was a block. I think the 3 got there. He didn't mean to get there. It's just a little bit of contact.
When Clint goes across the back bumper of that 3, it turned the 3 sideways. It upset the back of that 3 car. And then at that moment, Austin's trying to just catch his car. He's steering the race car, trying to steer the back of the race car. It starts driving like a forklift at that moment. And then he's down the racetrack, trying to get down into turn 1.
Kurt Busch squirts out of this without an issue. William Byron, Jimmy Johnson, and Ty Dillon all able to negotiate and get through. And so they're the top 4 right now after this melee happens behind them. Look at the 13. There's Ty Dillon, and he's able to negotiate through all of this virtually unscathed. And now he's running 4th.
Check out this from the 18 car, right in the middle of this mess.
Half up. Easy, easy, easy.
Helpless feeling.
Middle.
Helpless feeling when you see smoke in front of you, but you don't know what it
Stay
is.
on the flat. Stay out of the grass if you can.
See that contact right there when he went to turn left? That's what moved the 3 down.
Keep coming, keep coming, keep
coming.
coming.
That's a sickening feeling, isn't it, Junior?
Roll the top there. We got damage, guys.
You know that 3 car is coming back across the track. And there's nowhere for anybody to go.
All 4 of the Joe Gibbs Racing cars involved in this incident. There you see the damage to the 11 who was leading. They shuffled him out. Austin Dillon went to his outside. That dropped the 11 back, and then he was along for the ride when the 3 and the 14 made contact. So let's listen in on the spotter communication before, during, and after this crash from Austin Dillon.
Still inside. 14's got to be coming to your bumper here, quarter back. Still in line. Just watch your mirror. Bottom if you want it. Clear, clear. Crash, guys. I don't think he was clear. I don't think he was clear enough to go.
Sounded like he cleared him, giving him the understanding of the fact that there was nobody underneath him. You listen and you trust that spotter, and that's a very important relationship at this racetrack. But you also, you know, the 3-car and all these other guys have that side mirror, and you can see there, you know, you can look in that mirror and see there's a car down there.
I think the 3 was out of control, though. I think Austin Dillon, it wasn't matter what the spotter was saying at that time. He was along for the ride, it's my opinion.
There's a storm outside the racetrack, and there's a storm on the racetrack. We just saw it. Marty.
Well, with 38 to go, Rick, it looks like a lot of the front cars are going to come down pit road. You see those clouds building, so this could be a race off pit road that could decide the winner of this race, or your decision of whether or not you're going to come down pit road at all. Chad Canals told William Byron a moment ago on the radio, we're going to come, and there's been so much debris on the track. I want to take 4 tires, but I'm thinking some may go fuel only here. There's going to be a lot of interesting decisions right here, Rick.
I want to dissect what we just saw again. I know that a lot of people are wondering, did somebody come down? Did somebody come up? Let's look again.
Well, here we go right here. We've seen this several times. We both believe it starts right here. The 3 gets moved out of control. Then right now, they're going 190 mile an hour. I'm sorry. It's easy for all of us to sit down in slow motion and say this guy did that and that guy did that. But, Junior, you and I both know at that speed, you're just along for the ride. It's not like you can be calculative in what you're doing when these things are happening.
When Clint makes the move left, that upset the back of that 3 car and turned it sideways. The 3 had to go down the racetrack to get control of his car.
And Clint goes right. You can see Clint car turns right, but again, that's all in slow motion. I don't believe Clint Boyer just hung a right trying to wreck him. He knows he's gonna wreck himself. It's just going 190 mile an hour. They're not in complete control.
Stay high, keep digging here. Stay high, keep digging. We're wrecked.
So helpless, man. I've been in a few of those, man. They are not fun. Nope.
38 to go, and we're going to see quite a few cars come to pit road, Marty.
Well, we talked about that decision. You see it playing out right there. Matt McCall leading Kurt Busch on the racetrack. He's the leader of the race right now. William Byron and Jimmy Johnson coming down pit road, and actually William Byron going fuel only this time, as well as Jimmy Johnson. So the strategy plays with the storms close. Fuel only the call for the Hendrick cars.
That track position so important for them. They want to be close to the front if it does have a weather issue come and shorten this race. Kurt Busch is out front right now. Monster Energy at the racetrack makes the fans' experience so much better. They have areas that fans can come hang out. They can watch racing. They also have other types of entertainment, motorcycles, so many things that make this experience at a racetrack so much fun. Of course, this 4th of July weekend, all the fans are having a good time. Let's take a look at the cars that were involved in a wreck on lap 119. It's a 2-pager, so this isn't the end of this list. It gets even longer, but big names that have been taken out, some completely out of the race, but others that will have so much damage probably won't be in contention anymore. Of course, you see the 3 of Austin Dillon, he's out.
Well, Rick, Speedway racing and fantasy are tough to line up. We knew it was going to be a wild card. Well, the big ones happened. Did you make the right decisions? You go to your garage before the end of stage 2. We're going to have to see when this one's over. But another one thing that this big accident has done is given the one of Kurt Busch a great opportunity. Let's listen into the debate between him and his crew chief.
Kurt, I think we just stay out until we know it's going green. I think we stay out until we know it's going green. 10-4, buddy. That's my call. I like it.
Those are my favorite debates, when the driver agrees with the crew chief, and here's why, folks. He has the lead, about 20-something laps on this fuel, but that dark cloud is the difference. We're past the end of stage 2. If we get rain, if we get lightning that causes this race to halt and it cannot be restarted, the one of Kurt Busch would be the race winner. With some other names, Marty, behind him, it would be career days.
Well, Clint Boyer, not the day that he wanted out of the race in that big accident. So did you feel like that was Austin Dillon making a block when you were down there, or did you feel like you got his car loose?
Well, you got to be behind somebody to have a block. You have to have a car behind you. No, I was clearly clear up beside him. That was pretty bad, man. Yeah, I mean, and then he just kept coming down. Hell, I don't know. What do you do? What do you say? It's just nature of the beast for this type of racing. I mean, I had a big run, and he tried to block me, and then I got off of him, and then he kept coming down to try to block. It was just pretty unfortunate for us. We had a really fast, Mobile One Ford Mustang. Rush Truck Centers was on the back of it, and I don't even think you can see Rush Truck Centers anymore. Hopefully, when it was sitting down in a pile, with the mess that the 3 created. You know, I mean, hell, kid was doing everything he was trying to do to stay in the lead. It was just pretty foolish. We got communicators up there on top of the roof, and pretty early in the race, a lot of racing left to be aggressively blocking or whatever the hell that was. But we'll. Where the hell are we going next? Kentucky. I feel like we've been here for 58 days. Kentucky next week. Looking forward to that. And just hopefully this monkey will get off her back here sooner or later, and we'll get this 14 car marching back up where it belongs.
Did you have a chat with Austin about it in the care center?
It doesn't matter.
All right, Clint Boyer, not very happy with what happened out there. Clearly felt like that was a block from Austin Dillon. Very easy to see that from his opinion.
He mentioned the monkey off his back. He finished 37th at Chicagoland last week, now wrecked out of this one. Obviously the finishes not coming for Clint Boyer, who was in playoff contention and now is plummeting out of playoff contention.
Yeah, he is, and they'll need to turn that around because he's lost so many points, and now he's right there near that bubble. And we've got a lot of guys in this race still with the opportunity to win that'll make that even more challenging for him. If we get someone outside that top 16 to win today, boost them into that playoff race, and there's Clint right now.
Yeah, plus
fighting
3
on
right
that
now.
bubble.
But again, he's not able to continue.
You got it.
And also out of the race, the other one involved, at least the way this started, Austin Dillon is standing by with Kelly.
And Rick, obviously we've had the advantage of looking at that wreck through multiple angles and slow-mo. It was hard to tell if you had been cleared. What exactly happened, Austin?
Well, originally off of turn 4, I thought me and the 9 would be able to get by the 11, but the 9 wasn't clear. I really thought it was kind of urgent because of the lightning and rain coming. So I jumped up there, had a good push from the 14, and my plan as soon as I cleared the 11 was to cut left and get down again to get with my Chevy teammates. It's really unfortunate. We had a really fast American Ethanol Chevy. It was cool winning the stage. Just trying to get a race win. That's all it is. I got turned a little bit left when he went left, and it kind of shot me down there. I just kept coming left. I mean, I don't know. It's part of this kind of racing. I was being aggressive and trying to keep the lead, and that's what you get. You know, it's part of it. And there's a lightning strike right there. So just thought I'd try and keep it up front. And we had a fast car. Really proud of the guys. Hate it ended that way, and wish we could have worked with the Chevys to finish off what we'd started.
Thank you, Austin. Marty?
We saw Chase Elliott in the middle of that one, Kelly. What was your take on what happened there?
Yeah, I was just kind of on the bottom pushing along there, and I saw Austin get turned around, and just hope you can get left enough and get slowed down enough to miss it. So unfortunate. I thought our Napa Camaro was one of the best we've had down here, so that's unfortunate, and hate that happened. It was felt like we were doing a pretty good job really as a group. Just needed to keep it going.
All right, Chase Elliott out of it early here, and as he mentioned, the Chevy's doing a good job of sticking together. We'll see if that plan stays in place, Rick.
Well, we heard Austin Dillon make the reference to lightning, and right now we're seeing some cars making their way onto pit road.
Yeah, and that reference to lightning was that he talked about the intensity. He felt like the race end was coming, and then out of the infield care center he saw a lightning strike, and he's like, oh, that's why I was doing that, because he thought the race may be coming to an end.
Kurt Busch was one of those guys that was out on the racetrack leading the race, hoping that we would catch some weather and he would maybe declare the winner, but he has decided to come down pit road, get service.
So Justin Haley on our scoring monitor, and we're seeing a little bit of lightning there outside the track still, and of course the dark weather, but Justin Haley showed as the race leader, and he was a runner-up in the Xfinity Series race on Friday night.
And last year in the Xfinity race, he thought he won the race and got called for passing beneath the yellow line, which you can't do, and he still feels like he won that race. So those guys gambling a little bit. They have nothing to lose. They were coming to 1 to go, but now the caution lights are back on the pace car.
How about this? A non-cup regular could win this race. One of the guys trying to come in here like McDowell, who's in second place, and get a win and lock himself into playoffs, doesn't get that opportunity.
So it's Haley in the 77 and McDowell in the 34. They're making up row 1. But again, we went back to caution. They're not going to come to green here.
So listen, the one car, with those guys, they made a great call. Kurt Busch, Matt McCall made a call, right? They're going to stay on the racetrack. But NASCAR gave 1 to go. They said, we're coming to 1 to go. So that means they think the race is going to restart. So the one car comes down pit road. NASCAR goes 1 to go, then down the back straightaway. Conditions change. They get a lightning strike. They call it off. So right now, Matt McCall is like, man, I was in the right position. You gave 1 to go. Why'd you give 1 to go? You know he's upset with that call to change it and then say, hey, we're going back caution.
And so now the pace truck is going to bring the field back onto pit road, and we'll go to Marty.
And Kurt Busch, Rick, is livid on the radio. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Got the news of the century. Yep. They took one away from me in 2014 as well.
That's him processing the information that you just laid down, Jeff, that after they pitted, they called off the restart, and they made that decision based on the 1 to go call that you mentioned. So Kurt Busch not very happy with NASCAR's decision here.
Kurt pulled out of the lead and is now in 18th position. That is frustrating. Red flag's out.
And you drivers don't forget anything. You just heard it took a matter of seconds for Kurt to remember a time that he felt like one was taken away from him.
Yeah, we saw it earlier today. He hadn't forgotten Stenhouse's issue from February in the 500. Sent him for a spin. He's definitely in for, I mean, you always remember the races that you lost. You always remember the ones that you should have won, think you should have won.
So I mentioned Justin Haley in the 77. It's the 24 of the 24 of William Byron that is second right now in this race. So our scoring monitor not showing us the accurate numbers that we're running up front there, but Justin Haley in the 77 is correct. And so now the teams are being told cover the cars up because of the storm in the area, the lightning in the area. They will cover the cars up. A red flag has been displayed on the field with only 33 laps to go. Crushing for Kurt Busch to make that move. Potentially could have had a win today.
So I went down to the NASCAR tower to have a conversation about what's been going on. So what happened was they did not have a lightning strike within the parameter, right? They were clear, so they give the 1 to go. Then down the back straightaway, they got a lightning strike that was confirmed to be 7.4 miles away. Then they have to go to caution. So NASCAR did not have one in the area. They cleared it 1 to go. Then they got one down the back straightaway. They had to call it.
It's a timing issue. It wasn't obviously NASCAR is not looking at who's leading a race or who's on pit road when they make these calls. It's exactly when something happens. The caution had to come out or they had to go back to caution. And in this situation, when a lightning strikes within 8 miles, if it's 8 miles within the venue, they have to go to caution and red flag. It's a safety issue for everyone in the grandstands, for everyone on the racetrack, anywhere around this venue. They have to do that for a safety issue.
And that's not going to make Kurt Busch feel better, right? I mean, Kurt Busch is, you already heard him. He was pretty convinced that, they didn't want, this was, they don't made a call not to help him, right? And he's not happy about this, and you can understand that, but the way NASCAR uses the radar and the lightning strike technology they have, once they got it, they had to make the call.
So Justin Haley right now is leading this race on 4th of July weekend at Daytona. A year ago, Justin Haley thought he had won the Xfinity race. Take a look at this. He's in the 24, making the move on the inside, and he goes below the double yellow line to make the pass for what he thought was the win.
Not allowed to go below that yellow line. NASCAR felt like that he had advanced his position there. And I think a lot of people were upset about that call because they felt like this young man had made an awesome move at the end of that race to steal a win for a team, an underfunded team, a team trying to build and trying to grow, and a driver, very young driver trying to make his name on this sport.
And that yellow line is the center of controversy every time we come to Daytona and Talladega. It was put into place because we started finding ourselves 3 and 4 wide into the corners, cars on the apron of the racetrack causing big wrecks. So NASCAR put that yellow line rule in effect to try to help the drivers a little bit to keep us from being in those situations.
Talk about Kurt Busch remembering some race from 2014 that's, he's got a bone to pick with NASCAR about. Well, that Haley hasn't forgot last year. He's mentioned it this weekend, feeling like that was taken away from him. In a race that he still today feels like, I won. I won that race. I didn't get the trophy or the money, but in my mind, I won it.
We knew the intensity was ramping up. Everyone saw that the weather could be an issue. The big one happens because everyone fighting for every position. Austin Dillon, Clint Boyer knew something big was going to happen. Under a red flag condition in the Monster Energy Cup Series Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona International Speedway. Today's lap leaders brought to you by Simba Courts, and you look at Austin Dillon, Joey Logano, the guys that have led the most laps. Denny Hamlin, Clint Boyer, 5 and 3 respectively, and all 4 of them involved in the wreck at lap 119. Let's get you caught up as to how we got to this point.
And the race started out with a lot of guys talking about manufacturers working together. You see the Fords coming to pit road first. The Chevrolets would come later. These teams were all had their plans going well, and then this.
We saw Hanley starting to come into play. Kyle Busch losing control of his car in front of him. Keselowski losing control of his car. And from there, it all started getting crazy.
Joe Logano gets a great run here on Kevin Harvick with help from Stenhouse to be able to take the lead, winning stage 1. Had Logano pick to win this race.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. making an aggressive move. Kurt Busch underneath him. They make contact. Stenhouse backwards through the grass.
And the 2-car gets a shove from Kevin Harvick. Some innocent little push there turned the 2-car into the wall. Luckily, a lot more guys weren't collected up in this accident. This will be a sign of more things to come. Because these cars are real hard to drive today. Brad said it. Man, it was just a normal push, but I lost control.
And the big event of the day, Austin Dillon trying to get to the front of the pack. Thought rain was coming. Got real aggressive. Won stage 2.
And being aggressive here, we heard him say, look, man, I was just trying to keep that lead. Comes down on Clint Boyer. Oh, there's a real big wreck going into turn 1. The 3-car gets turned around, back up in front of traffic. Nowhere for anyone to go. Everybody's just piling in. Some guys get lucky and make it through. A lot of guys didn't. I've been down in the bottom of the grass in turn 1 in a pile of cars before. It's not a lot of fun.
And then Kurt Busch, those guys, he and Matt McCall, they stayed out wait until 1 to go, thinking of lightning or rain or something was going to come, and they got the 1 to go. So they came on pit road, but right here, they turned the lights off, signifying the 1 to go. On the back straightaway, they said they got a lightning strike, put Justin Haley in the lead, had to put the caution back out.
No rain, as far as I know. The track is still dry. So if we get that weather to move on, we should be able to get back to racing pretty quickly. Take a look at the radar.
Yep, that radar. And again, the inner circle, that's the 8 miles. And so if anytime a lightning strike happens inside of that inner circle, they have to have what's happening right now, a red flag condition, bringing the cars onto pit road. So as you mentioned, Junior, no precipitation yet anywhere on the racetrack, which is great. We don't have to dry the track to get them back out there. We just have to make sure that we are clear from any type of safety issue, lightning strikes that possibly are in the area.
Yeah, nothing against Justin Haley, but I would like to see a little more racing today. This has been such an exciting race, and we know that these guys are just going to get more intense. And we've got some guys like Justin Haley with an opportunity to win that usually maybe don't get that opportunity at other racetracks. Ty Dillon, Brian Newman, Corey LaJoy, DiBenedetto, McDowell, Tiff. I mean, all these guys really got a shot. They really do. Some of them outside of the top 16 in points could stamp their ticket today, just like Eric Jones did last year. Lock themselves in the playoffs and take so much pressure off their team. And for some of these smaller teams, it's a big, big deal to be able to just get a win, much less be able to be in the playoffs and celebrate, do all the things that you get to do, the media, extra exposure it does for that driver and that team.
You mentioned smaller teams, a driver for one of those smaller teams standing by with Kelly.
And that's J.J. Yaley, and count him among the guys who probably thought he had a shot to win this thing. He was P4, but much like Kurt Busch, came down when it was meant to be 1 to go to pit, right? What was your take on that?
I was a little bit worried. I mean, honestly, you could see the storm coming. You could see the lightning. I just didn't see how there was a possibility we could even go green. So, you know, the beg was for us to stay out in the Drive Smart warranty car, and you know, we went through that crash, went through a ton of debris, so I was just worried about cutting a tire down. So when they said they were going to 1 to go, I figured, well, maybe they're just going to give us a 5-lap shootout before the storm got here. We better pit. And unfortunately, they only went 1 lap before they threw caution again. So it's totally a bummer. You know, I mean, we're still going to end up with a car that's going to be nice and straight, but we'll probably end up 15th to 17th if we do get a chance to go back to racing. If not, we'd be sitting on a grid P2 behind Justin Haley, and it would have been a great run for a new sponsor.
Yeah, give us a sense of what it's like for a team like yours to be in a position at Daytona to have a good finish or a win.
A top 5 for this group. You know, we brought 3 cars this week for Rick Ware Racing. I have a brand new sponsor on the car, like I said, with Drive Smart warranties, and just, you know, I don't even know what to feel. Was at one point I was hoping it was going to rain because it was just so hot in the race car, and you know, now I hope that it doesn't swing you back out there.
All right, JJ, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, well, think about the hopes. I mean, you're in a team that, as you mentioned, Rick Ware bringing 3 cars here, 3 opportunities to have great finishes, a new sponsor, and he's running second at Daytona with the possibility of timing it out just perfect. You get that finish, and then it doesn't work out. Under a red flag condition here. As we sit here in the booth, we have a great vantage point. We can see obviously the whole track, but we can see mostly out the window from the entrance to turn 1 all the way to the exit of turn 4. And we saw that first front come in and the rain and everything, and we're starting to see again another wave of rain coming our direction again. So not only is it raining now, but it looks like another wave of the hard rain is coming.
Congratulations.
Thank you, bud.
Go see your family.
You're seeing it live. There's your winner.
He's being told right now.
Getting ready to go.
Justin Haley has won his first ever Monster Energy Cup Series race.
That was awesome, man.
Thank
you know,
you.
I mean,
I didn't do anything.
I know.
I did nothing.
You stayed up front all day.
Yeah.
Got back really loud and got yourself in the spot. That's what music, you know. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you, buddy.
What a family moment. Todd Braun, we mentioned him a moment ago. He's the one who really propelled all this. Owned Xfinity Series cars for 9 years. But you, young man, as you just said a moment ago, I'm just a dirt racer from Indiana. You are a Monster Energy Cup Series winner. Can you believe it?
It's absolutely a blessing. It's pretty incredible that I have so many great people around me that have given me this opportunity to come and to this level and the stage that we're performing on. Obviously, Todd and my family have done a great job, but the Fraternal Order of Eagles, everyone at the FOE, has given me this opportunity, Spire Motorsports. It's truly a blessing. I never even saw myself running a cup race until I got a call a few months ago to do Talladega. And it's just unreal. I don't know how to feel.
Hey, Rick was talking about your cousin's quarter midget a moment ago that you jumped into. Then you bought what you said was the worst quarter midget in the world. You painted that quarter midget all by yourself. You ever dream you would even race on this level, as you just mentioned, much less be a winner?
No, absolutely not. It's the stars aligned, and I didn't ever think I was going to get redemption back from a few years back in Daytona. Last year at Daytona when I got the Xfinity win taken away from me. So to come back and get redemption in the Cup Series is pretty cool, and it makes that second place finish with colleague last Friday a lot better.
How nerve-wracking was it sitting here talking to reporters as you were waiting for word?
Well, you just don't know. I mean, they keep asking you, how are you feeling? I'm like, well, I can't do anything about it. I mean, if we go racing, we go racing. If it rains out, we rain out. I can't do anything about it. So at the end of the day, I was just waiting.
All right, Todd, so as an owner in the Xfinity Series, did you ever win a rain race?
No, never won a rain race. I mean, I think we might have lost a couple, but only I remember James Finch won a cup race with Mike Bliss one time at Charlotte, and I said, man, how lucky was he, And yeah, I never won one this way. I feel like we lost them a lot of ways. A lot of ways, but we never won one this way.
For the family, how special is this moment?
It can't be. I mean, it can't be any more special. I mean, my sister, Melissa, and who's Justin's mom, and then my brother Drew. I mean, we're all so supportive of this, and the whole family is super supportive. And to race on this level, like he said, I mean, FOE's been with me for. I think I was thinking about it today. I think 2005 was the first deal I did with the FOE, and they've been with me ever since. Every year I go to their convention, and we will be there on Tuesday night, actually, with all the people from the FOE. And every year I've been to a convention. They've been super supportive. They're a great supporter of ours, and there's nothing more I could have wanted today than to put that Spire Motorsports 77, which I might have a little bit to do with, I guess, here and there. But that Spire Motorsports 77 into victory lane with JJ driving it. It's not quite a pinnacle of my life, but it's pretty close.
There you go, Justin Haley. What a win for this family, his Uncle Todd Braun. I think Mom Melissa's hanging out here somewhere. Here's someone crying. Here she comes. She's coming to the scene right now, and those are indeed tears from Mom Melissa about to give Justin a big hug.
Huge hug. Justin Haley getting another hug. Justin, your emotions, what you've had to wait through in just your third start. You are a NASCAR
What an emotional win for the 20-year-old. So this victory fueled by Sunoco, fuel your best. The word comes down that he has just won at the highest level of stock car racing. 11 years ago, he got into a quarter midget at a birthday party. And 11 years later, he is a Cup Series winner. And Mom coming in to congratulate him. And of course, Mom was the one he asked, can I get a car? Can I race? Can I be a race car driver? And now we see him win at the highest level at Daytona.
And if Mom says no, you're not going to do it. So
That's right.
Thank goodness Mom said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty exciting day for him. What a great race. I mean, we unfortunately had to postpone the race to another day, but we saw an amazing race. I thought we would. It was hot out there. It was slick. Those drivers had their hands full. Came down to a little rain shower, some lightning that shuffled up this strategy for Justin Haley to be able to get this opportunity and win this race. There's a lot of people that have won rain-shortened races, fuel mileage races. Doesn't matter. He goes home with the trophy, and he'll never forget this day.
And I just think what a start we've had to our broadcasting half of the season. We had Alex Bowman break through last week. We've been challenged by the weather each weekend, but then we come back here. A great story with Ross Chastain, and then the cherry on top, a young man who has very little experience in the Cup Series doing a wonderful job. You mentioned the race. It was hectic. He had to keep his car in one piece. There was a lot of chaos out there. The crew had to make all the right calls on when to pit, when to not pit with the weather and with the lightning. And listen, I've been fortunate enough to win one of these rain-shortened ones. You have as well, Jeff. Guess what? When that trophy goes up in your house, doesn't matter the story. You're the winner. You have won that race. Everyone down there would have taken this trophy. Today it was Justin Haley's.
For more post-race coverage, you can go to NBCSports.com. We will go to Monster Jam coming back to your regularly scheduled programming. Congratulations to Justin Haley, winner here at Daytona.